Welcome to Happily Ever Aftermath, the podcast that explores the movies that influenced how we view love and romantic relationships. Yes, there will be spoilers. I'm your host, Diana Rojek-Sconard. War is easy, love is hard. We're talking about D.E.B.S from 2004, and I am very, very excited to have Valerie Rose Lohman from The Flame, a podcast musical, join me. Hi, Valerie.
Hi, Diana. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, this is so great. So, D.E.B.S is a movie I had heard of, and when you brought it up as a suggestion, I'm just like, the spy movie? Were they spies? Were they assassins? I remember the poster. Awesome. Okay. So what made you choose this movie?
So I wanted to make sure, I wanted to choose something because it's Pride Month that was queer representation, but also queer representation that was really happy and fun and cute. And this is all of that. It's the most adorable film.
Agreed. First time watching it, it was for the podcast, and I'm just like, I have like very little, I didn't even watch the trailer. I had very little expectations. I got as far as the search online. In fact, for those of you unfamiliar with D.E.B.S, and that's D.E.B.S. So for anyone who's looking to rent it, you might have a little bit of a search query issue, but the internet will take care of you. Let's see here. The star of a team of teenage crime fighters falls for the alluring villainess she must bring to justice. And I'm just like, okay, well, this is going to work so well. I always wonder about those descriptions where it's just like an elite team of assassins. And I'm like, okay, so will it work for the podcast? Yes, it does. And the main characters, you have, let's see, Sara Foster as the main character, Amy, and Jordana Brewster as Lucy. And that will make up our, hero and quote unquote villain accordingly. The rest of the D.E.B.S played by Meagan Good, Devon Aoki, and Jill Ritchie. So back to what you're talking about. It's a fun movie with, you mentioned representation, which is also correct, but tell me, how did you see this movie for the first time, and how did it get on your radar?
Yeah, so I was on set for a LGBTQ pilot, a superhero pilot called Vigilante Laundry. It's actually how I met my friend Caitlin, who I'm working on The Flame with. And we just kind of immediately hit it off on set. She was the writer and executive producer of that project, and I was the lead in it. And we just were talking about representation and like different movies we loved. And she was like, have you ever seen D.E.B.S? I was like, I've never heard of it. So she's completely sold me on it. We she completely pitched it to me. I was like, there's no way it's that good, especially if it's from like 2004. I went home and I ended up watching it with my girlfriend at the time, and I have been a little bit obsessed with it ever since. I rewatched it. I actually just saw my friend Caitlin, and we watched it in person together for the first time. So that was fabulous. It was like fabulous to like watch it again just a couple weeks back. I love the film. I'm like shocked that something that cute and that like Disney Channel-esque rom-com was made in 2004 about like two queer girls. It's amazing.
Right. And one of the things I forgot to mention, but I will now, the movie was directed by Angela Robinson, who also did the movie Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman, which we covered earlier this year on the podcast.
I love that film.
Oh, it was funny. I watched Wonder Woman 1984 last week, and then when William Marston came up, I went, it's the guy. So
yeah.
So that was just me kind of geeking out over a movie and all the connections coming through it. So, that's fantastic that it kind of came together. So one of the things that's kind of great about the movie is that it kind of establishes early its tone. And I think it's great because there is this idea of the SATs has a hidden aptitude test underneath for people who would be excellent in the D.E.B.S program. And it's just, I'm thinking, okay, good. Let's establish expectations early. So like, I was thinking of other movies. Like, first of all, you mentioned 2004, and you're right. 2004, not necessarily there, but just early 2000s, it's kind of important to put this stuff on blast, where it's just like, this has the potential, romantic comedy wise, to go like completely south so quickly, and it'll age like milk, or it'll just be like, what just happened? And wow, that's kind of ridiculous. But this, you're right, this was fun. If you I will say that the level of technology that they had, like Star Trek level levels of just being able to transfer people, I'm like, are they holograms or are they literally putting themselves there? That was the only head scratcher I had. Everything else was great.
Yeah. I love that because it's like, it's so campy, and I wonder that too, because there's a couple ones where they're like treated as holograms, but then one, I think, where a character like picks up something or eats something, and I'm like, what is happening? But I love it. I also love like really campy movies.
and so that was the other thing too, is like, you know, I didn't even get the camp. Like looking back on it, I'm just like, oh, okay, I really need to get my radars moving here if we're talking about camp, because then it just puts on like this extra layer of greatness, which I think was pretty fun. Again, when I was thinking about it, I'm just like, okay, you just watched Casino Royale for an episode. Let's remove that dark, gritty spy stuff, and let's put myself into this realm of like, hey, remember Zoolander in 2000? Remember when he was like a model turned like assassin? Let's do that. Let's and I love that movie. So
I've actually never seen the first one. I have seen the second one.
Yeah.
I need to see it. No, it like totally reminds me. It gives me, I think why I love it so much is like, it makes me think of like the Disney Channel Princess Protection Program movie with Demi Lovato and Selena Gomez.
oh my god,
like that kind of level of just silly and doesn't take itself too seriously.
Sure.
And I just love that so much.
I would like to definitely get into like the silliness combined with the fact that you have this ultra villain who's on a blind date.
It's the best reveal.
It really was.
It is so, the comedic timing is just brilliant. And oh gosh, when Lucy's best friend, the guy whose name I can never remember, is like, you need to get back out there. Like, come on. I know you had your heart broken. Gosh, that reveal that's who our villain is I mean, it sets up how fun and silly and romantic it's going to be right then and there. I mean, we have a classic heartbroken girl that's gone on a bad streak because she's hurting, and then like the Miss Perfect girl that does everything right. It's such a good setup.
Right, exactly. I'm just like, okay, is it like kind of Romeo and Juliet-esque? I mean, kind of with the law, sort of, but you know, just the little pieces of it that just, you know, come together in a way that's just a lot of fun. And and the other thing was like, if you look at movies that were made in the last 10 years, like, so also what popped into my head was Kingsman. And it's just like, you know, with the really, really specific like action sequences and stuff like that. I like they don't spend too much time on that either, where it's just like, yeah, they're fighting, but you know, at the same time, it's really about their interactions on the verbal side, because it's really great. I mean, it's really great because they come together, and then it's just they oh my god, in rom-com fashion, they run into each other literally.
Yeah, twice.
Yeah.
It's such a perfect bookend, and just I think my favorite part is the moment when Amy starts talking about how she's writing her thesis on her,
right.
and that moment of like, oh my god, this girl actually understands me. It's so sweet and so pure, and same the interactions. I mean, they're both two really smart, headstrong women, and they both are very passionate. They both have very strong goals and wants, and seeing them come together and kind of like they try to butt heads because they know they're supposed to be enemies, and just seeing how quickly that falls away is so sweet.
Yeah. There's the the misunderstandings, because of course Lucy has this reputation of just like, no one has ever encountered her and lived to tell the tale, and when they're actually talking about it, we did 10 Things I Hate About You not too long ago, and you had the two main characters talking about like, well, what about this rumor where you don't have a liver because you sold it? He's like, okay, and you have Amy just going like, but what about all of those like people you killed? They're like, they had what was it, Ebola?
Frostbite in like Siberia. It's that whole rumor thing, the whole rumor mill, that they're not actually a big baddie.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, she's definitely doing crimes, but that's irrelevant right now. It's it comes up later, but
yeah, exactly. She just steals things. She's not murdering people.
And
two different levels.
Yeah, and I wonder like the level of the fact that it's actually part of their flirting later when there is a bank heist, and then the D.E.B.S are caught, and then Amy is separated, and then she kind of puts the rest of the D.E.B.S into this like, elaborate trap of the ceiling with the spikes coming down on them. She's like, I wasn't gonna,
My favorite thing about that is like, I love that scene, not with the couple, but with Dominique, one of the other D.E.B.S, when she's like smoking her cigarette, and that whole scene is so funny. And then of course, I mean, Lucy wants to, she's not actually gonna do it, but she tries to just give him as much of a scare as she can because it's funny.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that's really, great to see, is that Lucy is unapologetic for who she is. And I mean, it does come up later in the movie though, because it isn't so much she's apologizing for who she is, but kind of recognizing that it's a barrier between her and this person that she wants to be with. So it's kind of again, with as silly as it is, it's just like, I'm trying to put this like really serious idea behind it of just like, let's look at Lucy as a whole.
Yeah. No, she really does. I mean, I think one of her wonderful things about her is like, it's this chaotic energy, but it's how does she want to channel that so that the girl that she wants can be with her, and recognizing that. I mean, the whole ending where she's like reconciling for all of her quote unquote wrongdoings is, I mean, it's just as chaotic. It's just as silly as everything else she's done, but it's her trying to atone for it.
Right.
But she's always herself. She doesn't change. She doesn't pull like a Grease, like tries to change who she is at the end of the movie or anything like that. Right. And I think that's something I really love about it, is they both see each other for who they are underneath and who they really are. And that's what they're really drawn to. So neither of them have to change.
Right. Oh, there are a few, but the positive ones. I mean, the idea behind, you shouldn't have to change yourself for another person. Yes, that is true. But at the same time, a lot of the times you recognize something thanks to this other person, and that's how you are improving yourself, because it isn't so much like, so they set this up in the beginning. So there's Amy talking about what's going to happen after they graduate from the program, and she's talking about art school in Barcelona, and love that whole it's art school, it's the art school in the across the ocean. Of course it is. But you have her best friend who knows her, but she knows her this way. So of course you're just like, this is what we do. We stick together. And I'm like, oh, of course it is. Of course. Yes, of course. I want to be a D.E.B. and I want to do this, and I can do this. So I will do this. And then you have this new perspective, someone who looks at you in a different way and says like, well, why don't you? Or something to that effect. And it just kind of, the change can happen. And it's if it's coming from within and recognizing your own, I think that's what I love about love stories like that. It isn't about this equal, you get person, then happy, then, future. It's you find yourself changing / growing because of each other.
No, it's so true. Because, and there's nothing, and I think what I really love about like the nuance of that is like, Amy doesn't hate being a Deb. It's not like this. She's good at it. She knows it. She knows how to do it. She loves her friends that she lives with. But we never get to see any. We don't even meet her parents in this film. We don't see what anyone's expectations of her outside of achieving and succeeding in this very rigid program. Right. And what I love about that too is Lucy never tells her like that it's bad that she's a Deb. She never condones her for being it, but she just sees that underneath of, I can kind of tell this thing would make you happier and that you want this a little bit more than what you're doing, and encourages that.
Right. And I really enjoy seeing that. And it's, if I were in that situation, so like I really felt for Amy when she started talking about like, well, I kind of want to do this, but I know I'm good at this. And it's like, oh, get out of my job woes currently, Amy, thanks. Oh, geez. So it's, you know, and it's hard to make that transition, especially when you've been doing something for so long. But I will give her credit because they introduced that she had just broken up with her boyfriend. And he's kind of a, you know, I won't say he's a foil, but he's kind of a thorn. He's just like, come on, we're like, you're the perfect score, and I gave you the bracelet and all this other stuff. And it's just like, I'm just not in love with him. And I think it's great that she recognizes that. But all those piled expectations, especially being, you know, the center of attention for being the perfect score.
Oh yeah, what a seemingly insurmountable thing to leave. And the same thing with like her ex-boyfriend. He's also supposed to be like super high up with the guys, and her team is the top team. She replaces Max as the leader. She seemingly does have everything.
Sure. And she's confused the whole time, which is pretty comforting to see in a character.
That's one of my favorite things about her. She you can tell that deep down she knows what she wants, but you can tell it for a movie that's so like over the top and silly and fun, that is written so well, because you can take that into so many real life things. I mean, I know so many people that have struggled with this thing that they're not quite sure that they're good at, the thing that they want to follow their heart with, versus this thing that they're excellent at, that everyone praises them for. It's a very real, very relatable thing.
Right. And it's kind of difficult to walk away from something that you're good at, because it comes naturally, I would imagine. In my experience, it is. So it's just like, why would you walk away from something that just like comes at you so naturally? It's like, well, there's a reason.
Well, because it's easier to alienate yourself to fit into a box than to alienate everyone else around you.
Oh, because you just gave me chills.
Especially for a people pleaser. Well, I mean, I definitely relate to Amy, and like, she's such a people pleaser. Yeah, she does everything asked of her. I mean, I see that in so many like female-led projects. So many things where like the young female protagonist, like everyone wants her to be this thing, so she's gonna try to live up to it because it is easier to disappoint yourself, because you can tell yourself, I'm good at this, and this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what everyone needs from me.
Not to mention, you could stop yourself from fighting with yourself if you realize, oh, I can do this. No, you can't. Nope, I can. So it's, you know, oh, stop giving me like this, you know, chills going up here for that insight. That's kind of, ooh, okay. One of the other things I wanted to point out, especially with the aptitude test, it comes up later in the movie, because it was an interesting question. How does it work, and what does it measure? Yeah. And I'm actually curious what their SAT scores were on the base level of SATs versus like the aptitude. But she talked to, I guess, their immediate boss, played by Clarke Duncan, and he said, you have the aptitude to be a perfect liar. And that just like blew my mind in a couple of different ways, because it actually informed what I'll want to talk about next in the next segment. But was there anything in particular about that also just went like made you just kind of wide-eyed open, like, oh my God?
I mean, I think it made her mean, I think if we're taking it back to what we were just talking about, like about the people pleasing, I mean, I think she's been lying to herself.
Yeah.
I think because she's such a perfect liar, she's able to make herself believe that this is what she wants.
Right.
And everyone else around her. And that was, I remember seeing that for the first time. And I remember the first time I watched it, I was a little like, huh? Mm-hmm. And then I was like, oh, I get it.
Right. And it actually helped crystallize everything that happened before, because you have her teammate, Janet, who is watching the whole thing happen. So she knows that Lucy is coming, and she actually they get quote unquote kidnapped. I mean, technically, yes, it was kidnapping, but let's put this in the lens of the silliness. She got taken hostage, we'll say, to a club. So, come on, let's have some fun here. So I was trying to like readjust myself. I'm just like, oh, if this was being played straight, this is uncomfortable. But okay, silly time.
Yeah.
And so Janet, did have a couple of comments in the background. She's just like, oh my God, you were going to kiss her and you were going to let her and all this other stuff. So I'm just like, what realm of lying was it? I mean, was she lying to herself, before with putting herself in the perfect, heterosexual relationship? And then I'm just like, what level of lies was she telling herself? And then I also didn't, necessarily appreciate that her friend was arguing her own sexuality to her, and I'm just like, oh well, that probably happens though, so okay. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm just like, does she even know that she's lying across the board? If she doesn't know, I mean, how the rest of us are supposed to know? Can I get like a little scorecard of like what to be rooting for right now? Because and ultimately, I think what you want is for Amy to be, true to herself.
Yes. And I think that's one of the things that I really enjoy about her performance. The actress who plays Amy is she doesn't play anything with the subtext of I'm lying. She plays it completely truthfully, which is why when you hear that at the end, it is so surprising and lets everything kick into place like click into place a little bit later, because she's played it and it's been directed to be so honest. And so like she's played almost almost self-righteous in you're the bad guy, I can't be here. Yep. It's done so well.
Yep. Oh, very true. So I alluded to it. Let's move into it. Question, when did they fall in love?
I think personally, I think when they're about to kiss at the club.
Oh,
I think that I think it's earlier. I mean, it's one of those things where, especially because Amy's not previously out. But there's like the breadcrumbs there. I mean, she is got the classic like queer girl obsessed with another girl for a reason that she can't understand why, and she's obsessed so much that she writes a thesis about her. But I think if we are talking about someone who lies to themselves so deeply, I mean, how much is she feeling to let herself get to that point? If she is always on this other level of this really, really thick facade.
Right. No. That's an excellent observation. I'm imagining like this is where her head is, and her head is, very clear and starting to get confused because of the actions. But like, love is not the head thing, 100%. It's a combination of all of the above. And and the listeners can't see this, but I'm just like gesturing to my head right now, and then I was pointing at my heart just a little bit. I'm like, love here in the heart area.
Yep.
But also up here in the head area. So no, totally. And it's as the viewer as well. It's like I was kind of confused as well. I'm just like, wait a minute, you have mentioned all these things, and you have the straight-laced I am, why is she paying attention to me? Oh my God, you're a legend. But pulling back, and I don't know if she was pretending or if it was true. It's just like, no, in a purely academic context, you're a legend and fascinating. Yeah. But also when Lucy first appears, oh my God, that's Lucy Diamond. I can't believe what? she's here. And it's like, good pause. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. Oh man. And do you think it was because Lucy is unapologetic for who she is, do you think she just kind of knew it, felt it, boom?
I think she's definitely one of those love at first sight girls.
Got it.
I mean, I think that for someone who, I mean, she even says so early, like, I hate Debs. Like there's a sign of like a good Deb is a dead Deb. Dead Deb. I can't say it. It's like a tongue twister. I mean, I think she's like, I mean, she's a total romantic. Mm-hmm. She's such like a suave. I think she knows right away that there's something very important there. I will say, actually, I'm gonna recount the kiss one.
Okay.
Because I was thinking about it while we were chatting about it. I think for it to like reach that deeper level, I think maybe she Amy and Lucy both really realize it in the end, in the speech, when she, because you can love someone but not make a decision to do what's best for them, to make them happy, to be with them. Right. And there's a whole other level of bravery and trust in your love to throw everything that you know away.
Yeah.
And that's a really big. So I think maybe she does love her at the kiss moment, but then it reaches her head in that moment.
Right.
I mean, I think Lucy is like definitely very romantic and very like, I would say that, I mean, she's trying for Amy through the whole end when she's returning all these things she's stolen. But I think for her, knowing for sure that that's truly reciprocated and that this girl's not going to leave her like this other girl who broke her heart is also confirmed in that moment.
Yeah. And just for more context, Lucy's going through, she had her heart broken earlier, before the movie even started. So she's very hesitant. She's constantly, it's her friend setting her up on a blind date. So she's just like, oh God, no. So there's that going on. And I'm glad that you brought that up, the thing towards the end and giving up, certain things and changing yourself. Because for me, I was under the impression that when Lucy started to quote unquote make amends in the returning all the money that she had stolen and kind of undoing her financial crimes, basically, in order to show the Deb, the straight-laced one, that she is, she can be that person for her. And on the other side of it, Amy knowing the last piece of, the aptitude test says you're a perfect liar. What happens is that now that she kind of knows that about herself, it's easy to go back and think of like, oh, was I only adjusting myself to this environment, i.e. dating, oh God, I don't remember his name, Bobby? I think it was Bobby.
Yeah, it's Bobby.
Yeah, something like Bobby, like that. And I honestly, as much as I thought that she was enjoying the time when she was kidnapped and doing what she was, I think she was also adjusting to her surroundings. If we talk about like, right now her objective is to survive. So it's like, oh, sure, yeah, of course I think you're cute and everything like that. And maybe I have this vibe towards you because like this is going to keep me alive. And which is really kind of a shame because that was a really cute montage of them just playing hooky together.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and when she eventually is rescued right beforehand, they actually have an exchange of I love you and I love you too, and it kind of made me sad that I looked back to that. I'm just like, oh my God, I think she was lying because I think that she was really figuring herself out, but I think that because she was so quick to re-assimilate into the D.E.B.S, be the perfect score, and you are a hero for us, she just went right back to it. Yes, this is this, and this is, and I got kidnapped, and thank goodness I was rescued. So again, with what you said at the end, where you actually see her know herself, see Lucy, and then declare it in front of everybody. I'm just like, there is the truth, and there is it real. And that's when she, I think it's when she saw her again. It's just like, there it is. And again, because Lucy knows who she is a lot better, she's able to just kind of get into it quicker and fight for it.
Yeah. No, it's definitely like a long journey for Amy figuring that out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun to watch it. I didn't even think of that element of, was she lying to survive? That's very interesting.
It just something that like that thing really just exploded for me. I'm just like, oh my God, she's the perfect liar. I can't trust anything she said at this point or at this point or at this point.
No, it's true. And like, I mean, that's a very, I think what I loved about it is like, that's a very real part of a coming out experience too, is like analyzing, oh my God, I've been pretending to be this thing in front of everyone for my like whole adult life. And that's not real. And what is real? And I love seeing her confusion working through it, because she doesn't seem thrilled to be going through it, this whole speech and everything, but she's not entirely like, I don't want to do this. She goes with it.
Yes. And of course, if we were to like talk to the writer of this, and I'm just like, what was her internal motivation? Did she know, but she chose to keep it to herself? And they will most likely say like, calm down, it's a movie. And but at the same time, I mean, it's out there, so we're able to just kind of poke at it as we see fit. Yeah, so amazing. And in the end, it is a gigantic action scene of chaos, but ultimately we have our two characters run off, and I think that's amazing. What do you think happens next?
I think they absolutely moved to Barcelona. And I think that they're like perfectly happy there. And I hope that they're happy forever. And I hope that like Amy figures out all the other things she likes to do besides just paint, and realize that there's a whole life out there. Because even though Lucy's a criminal, she very much has like traveled the world, done things, had experiences. And I hope they like are like traveling the world together, having cool experiences.
Yeah. Oh, sure. I got way too specific in my head when I thought about it. It's, yes, they run off, and yes, they do that. I didn't think about the traveling so much as like they have just made like very large adjustments to their own lives. So for a brief period, I can see them just like hiding together and basking in their happiness of being the two of them. And then shit gets mildly real, and it's and it hits this point where, oh yes, you have your happiness together, but as individuals you still have to find a life there. And they realize that together after a little bit of bickering of just like, you know, well you left the refrigerator door open and then all the stuff went bad, you know, something little will just kind of set them off. But that's kind of great, because they're going to do that. And then that's when, for some reason, I want to keep Lucy as still a mastermind of well-intentioned evil, and I imagine her kidnapping an art teacher for her. And
she so would.
And just like
she would.
And the gesture is wonderful, but Amy's going to be like, all right, I understand. Please return this person to their home and let's consider. And then it brings up the art again, and then she kind of goes into it. So again, well intentioned, but at the same time executed in a way that's probably not fully appreciated.
Oh yeah, I mean, I could totally like imagine like Lucy as like a mom, like dealing with like crazy PTA moms or something, like poisoning the brownies with laxatives or something like that, like just like pure chaos.
Yes.
As like they grow. I mean, because they're graduating college, so they're 22 right now, 23. Yeah. There's so much opportunity there for so much good.
Right.
Good chaos.
Right. And naturally they're gonna bounce off each other, where Lucy's gonna be level-headed in certain aspects, and then Amy's gonna I mean, I love that, by the way, lacing brownies with laxatives. Oh at a bake sale. Wonderful. I like that. I like that so much. It actually just makes me think of that meme that came from The Waterboy, where you've got Fruza Balk's character with the gigantic sign that says, "Do you want me to kill them for you?" And it's like, no, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. Yes. That's exactly what that dynamic is.
Yeah, where it's like, oh, they will do it for each other, but at the same time, no, that's okay. That's not necessary. But I love that you're going to bat for me.
The enthusiasm is wonderful.
Absolutely. Of course. Yeah. So, I think, so definitely art school. There's going to be some art. There's going to be some living. There's going to be some traveling. I agree with you on that front. No,
I think there's going to be a lot of like therapy for Lucy. I think at a certain point, like if you've like grown up in a life of crime, I imagine there's some stuff to unpack there. I imagine like I do see them staying together because I see them holding each other accountable for growing.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And to give a holistic view of it, I think Amy will have some too, because the stringentness of being the perfect and being that you have to figure something, because that is not the same as becoming an ultra villain, but at the same time there's some things that I think will make her a better person and better partner in the end. Oh yeah, hopefully. Lots of therapy, separate and together. Absolutely. And I was thinking like, but the good news is that they won't need couples therapy because they're so great. Nah, it will leak into there. You're right. They're not afraid of the therapy. No, they can handle it. Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. No, that's so great. Thank you so much for talking about this movie with me. Yes, I like I said, I love this movie, and my goal is to tell every person about it because not enough people have seen it. Right. It was like, it came and went in 2004, so there should be more opportunities for this to be like, where is this in the cable circulation so new generations are watching it on a loop like I used to do. Oh yeah. I still like am very amazed just on like how far we've come with LGBTQ rep in the last. So this came out 17 years ago. Right. Oh, wow. How did this get made? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't even think the L Word was on HBO yet. Oh. Or like was just about or had just started. Maybe. Yeah. No, definitely. Well, I believe so. I was in college and I remember watching Queer as Folk. So maybe Queer as Folk, but not the L Word yet. Yeah, so there wasn't a ton, and for it to be like this, I mean, it's a real movie. Mm-hmm. There's like real actors in it. It has a budget. Yeah. It's not some like tiny indie movie with $100,000. Oh yeah, no, got a large budget. Yeah. I just am baffled this thing got made. I'm so grateful. I think it would make a fantastic TV show. Oh, you're right. It would. You wouldn't be able to have your protagonist fall in love every week, but this has ripe with opportunities for like. Missions of the week. I mean, if you can have Law and Order on for like 30 years, you can definitely get like multiple seasons out of D.E.B.S. Oh yeah. I think it'd be fantastic. You hear that, Hollywood? Make D.E.B.S. Let's put it out into the universe. Yeah, we'll get it to happen. Oh, that's great. So, I would love to take this moment to ask you a little bit about The Flame, this podcast musical that you're a part of. Yes. So right now it is already out in Apple Podcasts. 3 episodes in, it's out on Wednesdays. So after you download this, make sure to download and subscribe to The Flame as well. It's actually described in different ways, so I'm just going to let you talk a little bit about it. Yeah, so it's an LGBTQ musical rom-com podcast about Jamie, a woman who owns a bar called The Flame, with her best friend Heather alongside her. And the woman she meets, Sam, one day, who comes in to inform her that she is selling the building and that the bar and Jamie are being evicted. And then there's some sparks that fly between them as they try to save the bar. Right. And it's an 8-episode arc. Each episode ranges from about 15 to 24 minutes in length. And I think we have 18 songs total. Wow. Yeah, we've been working on it since
I signed on in March of 2020, right before the pandemic started.
Oh, right.
And yeah, like right before. And then Ellie Brigida and Lee Holmes Foster, who are our other executive producers, had gotten the idea December 2019. Oh. So it's been a long labor of love.
Yeah. Oh man. So so 3 episodes have been out right now. Anyone who has listened to my podcast over time knows that musicals and I don't have the best relationship, but in listening to it, first of all, you mentioned 15-20 minutes per. I'll turn it on and I'm just like listening to the story and the musical numbers hit. And it occurred to me that the relationship that I have with musicals is because they're movie musicals or they're plays. So once they start, I'm trapped. So it's like, I can't go anywhere. But this is like bite-sized chunks. And I listened to the 3 episodes before we met to record. And I'm just like, when are the rest coming out? Because like I'm ready for this love story to progress, and I'm just like, oh no, we're here now. And so right now I'm in the middle of the of the setup. So it's been fantastic. I commend this cast and crew for this production. It is incredible because of the music and the songs and the stories and the laughs, because you have these people going through, again, we have somebody who just went through a breakup and is very upset and wants to find love, and you have somebody who's going through their own emotional issues, and then all of a sudden they collide. Oh, this interesting. Can we have D.E.B.S the musical next? I mean, if it
Please.
There it is. All right. Again,
please,
putting it out into the universe again, but very so those who are enjoying D.E.B.S will also enjoy this as well, because it's a captivating story and beautifully done. And you are one of the best friends. So yes. I
play Mel, the most like chaotic. She's this like chaotic high femme with anger issues. Then she'll like step on anyone, but she fiercely loves her best friend, Sam, who's the one going to sell the building. And she has met her match in Joe, played by Jen Colella. And they have a lovely romance that I swoon over a little bit.
That sounds great. I'm crossing my fingers for the happy endings for these characters. I love it. Tell me, you'd mentioned that this was something that came up, in December 2019. How did you get connected to the project?
So Lee and Ellie both host Les Hangout, a really wonderful podcast about lesbian and queer media. And I had been on their podcast, I think in October of that year, working to promote a video game that I had just starred in. So I was talking about queer rep in video games and in animation, voiceover. And so when March and February rolled around of 2020, when this thing was starting to get some legs and they decided they wanted to actually go forward with it, they didn't know anyone who knew anything about the voiceover world or working with actors. So they emailed me initially for a consultation, just to kind of ask about like how to do a SAG-AFTRA contract or how to do casting and stuff like that. And we ended up deciding to actually work together, and I signed on as executive producer. After they had kind of fleshed out their initial idea of the story, and we had kind of started figuring out, what do we need from here? Who do we need in the rest of our team? We decided that we wanted to hire a screenwriter as opposed to Lee and Ellie writing it, because they don't have a background in writing books or scripts. They're fantastic with music. But I had worked with Caitlin in January 2020 on the pilot Vigilante Laundry. Mm-hmm. And I was obsessed with her writing. So when they were like, we need to hire a writer, I was like, I know the perfect person. So I reached out to Caitlin. Caitlin sent me a Killing Eve spec script that she had written. Wow. It's fantastic. I sent it to them. They loved her. We brought her on, and we've been just hammering away since we had our full team assembled, I think, by late April or early May.
Okay. Yeah. And I mean, full disclosure, I remember when the campaign got started in order to finance that. So I am a contributor. Let's have my listeners.
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. But at the same time, I want the listeners to also know, full disclosure, I have also supported the campaign as well. And when I read about it, I'm just like, oh, this sounds like an amazing project. And here we are on the other side of its creation. And so I encourage everyone to be a part of listening. It's just, it's wonderful. Yeah. It's joyful, even though there are some, heavier topics, again, one character dealing over the death of a parent, the other one, just looking for love and kind of not succeeding in everywhere. But again, you have a group of people, a group of characters, so you're going to have all different levels of somebody, and you'll find someone that you will cling to in the joy and in the sorrow.
And that was really important for us because the LGBTQ community is so broad and so inclusive. It was really important for us because it was like a family affair building this thing. In terms of like the crowdfunding campaign, we raised our entire production budget from our crowdfunding. Right. And then in that, it was really, really important for us to be able to have a really diverse cast of characters so that no matter who you are, you can find someone to be like, I feel represented, or I feel like I feel a connection, because we don't always get that. And I think it's really important, especially during Pride Month.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's wonderful. And, If I understand correctly, there's also listening parties happening as the premiere, past the premiere, and all these new episodes that are coming out.
Yes, we do a listening party every Wednesday at 6:00 Pacific, 9:00 Eastern PM. They're via Zoom. The tickets are on Eventbrite. It is free. We just want to have you register just so we get a head count and so we know if we need to buy a bigger Zoom room. Right. But yeah, we do a whole little recap of the previous week's episode. We listen all together to this week's, then we'll do about a 35 to an hour of Q&A afterwards, depending on how many people are there or want to ask questions and stuff. Everyone usually has like a fun adult beverage to drink, or it's very much like being at a bar. Yeah. It's really so fun.
What to say?
Everyone's singing along, and it's been really nice. It's actually been really cute seeing when we do the recap section, because we'll have listeners who have listened to it like a couple times over in this last week, so then they'll be like singing along and stuff because we can see everyone's faces in the Zoom. It's like a full audience experience.
I love the way you've recreated, like, it's an opportunity for everyone to actually be together while still being in their own places and creating the bar and the group dynamic. That's fantastic.
It's so fun.
Yeah, and we will link to the Eventbrite in the show notes for those of you who want to check this out. Anything else that you would like to share about The Flame? I mean, we covered a lot, but I don't want to miss anything.
Yeah, just we're really excited about it. We're really proud of it. Just follow us along. We did launch a Patreon for like extra behind the scenes content. We're currently we have some stuff in process for how this project's going to live beyond the podcast. We have ideas we want it to go places, and we're looking towards a season 2. We're not sure quite what that will be yet, but yeah, we're just really excited about it. And honestly, like, we're really grateful to the audiences that have embraced us. We've had really kind words from everyone. So a thank you if you've listened to it. And if you haven't listened to it, come hang out with us.
Yeah. Oh, congratulations. This was,
thank you.
A very big project, and it's wonderful. And I commend you and your entire team.
Thank you. It was a learning curve. I have never executive produced before. I mean, I've executive produced on a couple short films, like 7 minutes long. Never have I executive produced a 2.5-hour musical that includes a cast of Broadway actors. Yeah. That was a great learning curve, but we did it.
Yay. Awesome. Okay. So, if you have any types of questions about D.E.B.S or comments or anything that you want to let us know about, still on a social media hiatus, but the email inbox is always open, so you can reach the podcast at contact@HEAMCast.com. Valerie, how can people find you or any other projects that you're working on right now?
Yeah, I have a couple projects in the works right now. I'm working on some new music, which is something brand new for me. I have a couple. Well, I guess I can't talk about what games I'm doing because I'm under lots of NDAs. But I'm working on a couple projects I'm very excited about. I recently launched an ASMR YouTube channel, which is brand new for me, but super fun. And then I also, in January, launched my voiceover coaching business. So I coach for auditions. I coach new young actors looking to break into voiceover, and it's been such a fun journey. I love working with people.
Oh, it's very exciting. Yeah. Well, so even if you are held back by NDR, no problem. Follow you, check out your website, because eventually, when that's no longer in play,
it'll be out.
You'll be out, and then you'll get to hear about it. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So thank you once again for joining me. And
thank you for having me. This was so fun.
You are welcome back anytime. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And until next time, may your aftermath be happy.